played. Hello everyone, my name is Matthew Belton. I am the creator of the Masters Survival. What I wanted to do today is explain and go over the details of the Masters Survival. We've been making this game for 3 years, mostly me, but I have had some help here and there with some aspects of the game, like testing, and some of the art direction, just making sure that the art was good, and also just game direction, just overall direction, from some friends of mine, my co-creators. Still have another year of development. We're hoping to get this game done by April of 2022, but it may be longer than that. We're not gonna rush or anything, but we will try and get this done as soon as we can. I'd like to go ahead and get more detail here with the game. So this game takes place a year after the first book that I wrote, which was Read the New Cast. And if you're interested in purchasing this book, it's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. So at the end of this book, spoiler alert, if you haven't read the book or want to read the book, go ahead and skip. I'll put a time code. So at the end of this book, Tana and Saber are mentioned that Saber's going to open up a school. And so in this game, you basically explore a little bit of that. So at this point, he's getting ready to open the school. He decides that he wants to have the combat training of the school be in the basement of the school, but the problem is that they are doing this in a building that's 1,000 years old. The building is the Master's Temple, and the temple was opened up 1,000 years ago. So he reaches out to a character that he's friends with. A character, his name is Evo, and he's actually part of another series that takes place in the same world. He's like the lead engineer of his company, and he decides to create a virtual system that you basically go into the system, and you can do combat training there. So they make that system, bring it over to the temple, and they decide to have Tana decides that she wants to test it out for them. So she goes in the system, and they set it up to fight Shadow Dwellers. And as she's going along, first she discovers that she's after she's done defeating a wave of enemies, she goes on to another level, and each level is based off that first level. The first level is basically what the actual basement looks like outside of the system, but they have it to where they're also testing it out to where they can vary it up and just add a little bit of challenge to it. They're testing that as well. So what happens is, as she's going along each individual level, she discovers that there's way more going on than just her testing out the system. I can't get much into more detail than that, unfortunately, because the rest of it is going to be part of the complete game, and I don't want to spoil it for everyone. So we do hint towards it at the end of the trailer as well as the end of the demo, but again, I'm not going to get much more into that. With that, I want to go over some things here. First of all, the Shadow Dwellers are the enemies of the game. They are the enemies in the series, and what they are creatures that were once human, that were consumed by the darkness. The darkness coming from another realm called the Shadow Realm. So what happens is that when you're consumed by the darkness, you basically are attacked by the Shadow Dwellers, and Shadow Dwellers are darkness. So you basically get consumed by darkness from the attack. And when you become a Shadow Dweller yourself, depending on how strong your will is, depends on what kind of Shadow Dweller you're turned into. So if you turn into a regular Shadow Dweller, regular Shadow Dwellers are basically like the foot soldiers, or like they're the most common of the Shadow Dwellers. And so since you're not really strong-willed, you're not really strong or anything. You're just another foot soldier, another Shadow Dweller that basically just gets thrown out there and everything. And your body gets really warped and everything, and that's where that design comes from. If you are strong-willed, then you become a shadow being, and a shadow being they're kind of like ninjas in a way. So they have two different swords. They have swords for hands, They're faster, and their eyes glow red. Their eyes are glowing red because of just how they're that powerful. They're not super powerful, but they are more powerful than others. So because they're more strong-willed, they get more power. And so when I was designing them, I wanted to basically iterate that they have more power than the regular Shadow Dwellers by having them have red eyes. The third class is the Shadow Demons. They aren't as common, and if a human gets taken over, they can't just become a Shadow Demon. The Shadow Demons only exist because of the Heaven Hell War. You can actually read a little bit about that story if you read The Master is the Water God. That is a free short story available online. Basically, they are demons that were turned into Shadow Dwellers, and so that's why there's very few of them, because they were only created during that time period. In this game, you do see one of them in the trailer, and you do fight them. They fight a boss demon, which would technically be like a general. And then you do fight them in the survival mode. They do show up a little later in the survival mode. You do have to get a certain amount of kills before they show up. And I'll go over that here in a little bit. So let's just go over the features here of the game. This game is being made with the Unreal Engine, and sound-wise and sound effect-wise, like music and sound effect-wise, we are using. We have a license with Epidemic Sound to get that. So the theme here for this is the theme for the way the menus look and everything. Is based off of Windows 95. I figured since this is like the first system ever made, it's still in a beta testing or whatever. So the visuals wouldn't look that great, and so it's it's the first time this is ever being created. So I figured they would use minimalistic UI to just get the point across, like, hey, okay, we can do this and this and this. And so that's where this comes in. So it wasn't just because I was trying to get something done real quick. It was more so I wanted it to look. I purposely made it look this way. We have some options here. So this is where the basic revolution options are. We have controls. This is, you can use keyboard or your mouse and keyboard, or you can use your gamepad. Since this is on PC, it's a gamepad, so you can use any controller you want to use. By default, I would say use an Xbox controller. You can use a PlayStation controller, but you'd have to, with Windows, you have to use a program to get the PlayStation controller to work. To start survival mode, immediately going into the game here. So I'll go over the HUD here. So up in the corner, top right hand corner is the health bar. It's pretty standard. You have 100% health. As you go along, you lose your health, and if you get 0% health, you die. Pretty simple. On the left hand side is your energy bar. This is for using your special attacks. You have 2 attacks, because Taunt at this point has 2 attacks. Which is your Water Blade and a Water Blast. In normal circumstances, she's able to use this as much as she wants. There's no limitation, but since she's in the system, it is controlled, and it works for the game anyways. So it makes it more of a game rather than just being able to use it whenever she wants. So, I mean, I guess in real life she would still have energy, so she wouldn't be able to use as much as she wants. She would kind of get tired and everything, but so how this works is that you start off with 0% energy, and it will it will charge up to 100%. Once it gets 100%, you can use one of the attacks. So this is kind of where you make a decision. You may have 3 decisions actually. So your first decision is, I'm going to use Water Blast. So that will deplete all the energy, and but it releases the Water Blast, which will send a wave of energy out to basically whatever's in front of her, and whatever's in front of her will get destroyed. The other thing is the water blade. So if you decide to use the water blade, then she creates an energy over the blade. Water energy goes over the blade, and what it does is it doubles your damage, and you can destroy your enemies a lot quicker that way. But and the thing is, it doesn't deplete your energy right away. It depletes over time, and that's basically like it acts like a timer in a way. Like you have until your energy depletes to get 100%. Now, this is this is another thing that kind of ties into your third option. So once you use one of those attacks, when it's done depleting, or when it just depletes and it starts to charge back up, it will charge up slower than the last time it charged up. so basically every time you use an attack, it gets slower and slower and slower at building up. So that then ties into your third option is, do I even want to use my attacks right now? Because once you decide to start using your attacks, and it takes longer and longer, and you have your health that's constantly depleting. So you have the basic enemies that go after the Shadow Dwellers. After a little bit here, after you get to a certain amount of kills, which is your kill meter down there, your old kill count, or rather, the kill meter, the shadow beings will start to show up. And I'm basically doing what I'm being a little smart with right now, and I'm just straight attacking. You don't have to do this, but you can, use your attacks here, your special attacks. So I'll use the water blade here. We can also zoom in, which is nice. So if you can be this far out and have more clear view, or if you want to get more zoomed in,
water blade.
So water blade. This is where the shadow dwellers come in, shadow demons, the shadow beings come in. And so they are quicker. Like I said earlier, they're quicker, and they do more damage too. They're more powerful, and the health's starting to go down. So what I can do is go here. Where to go actually? So the other thing too is that with survival mode, the items to help you out only spawn once. So that's another thing you need to be careful with. This is where the survival stuff comes in. So it's like, do I want to use my attacks now? Do I want to go use that health pill right now? You do have some help when it comes to that. So your health does restore over time. So if you're just completely out of options, but you want to survive a little longer, you can, run away a little bit, wait for your health to go back up. So my bad. So even me, I have some difficulty doing it. Go ahead and just try it again. Just be a little too careful. Yeah, the health pills, the red pills, basically what they're called, is only made to be picked up if you have less than 100% health. So, which is good. I didn't want to make it to where, like, if you run over an accident, you have full health, that means it's not going to go away. I think that would just break the game. So, but it'd make it to where you can pick it up any time if you're lower than 100%. So you do got to kind of be careful. I would, any feedback you have on this game, feel free to do so. We do have a comment section down on our Stitch.io page. The other thing with the Shadow Being is like they have more health too, so so they do take a little longer. So it takes 2 hits to kill the Shadow Dwellers. It takes 3 hits. Yeah, it takes 3 hits to take out the Shadow Beings. And then I want to say it takes about 4 hits to take down the Shadow Demons. That's the other thing I noticed too, is that like even if it's not hit, it still kills them. Sometimes it doesn't hit them all. I think that has to do with the timer. I did put a timer. You can't spawn kill them at all with the water blast. So if you see them spawn, they have like there's like a small little timer on them to avoid getting hit. So something I'm still working on as well. I feel like I need some tweaking, but there's a lot of things need tweaking. Like I said, this is the alpha build. Me personally, I prefer the water blast over the over the water blade. But another feature I would like to have in this game is have like a score, like a leaderboard system. I think that would be pretty cool. So you get like, if you can compete against your friends and stuff. I wanted to have it for the demo, but I just couldn't figure out how to get it done in time. So I got left out, unfortunately. One of the characters, Laker, in the game, what he does is he's like a summon. He's a real powerful character. So he unfortunately is really, that I can think of anyways, is going to be playable as a character because that's how powerful he is. As the literally has the ability to create black holes. Which I like. At the same time, it doesn't really work out as like a video game player, unfortunately. You have to be dumbed down if anything. So he works a lot better as a summonable. Is that a word? A character you can summon. And so in this game, so this is a one-time deal as well. So this is something else you gotta be worried about because you can only spawn if you get a coin, and the coin only spawns once. So you have to be really smart about this. But once you get it, you can summon Blinker, and Blinker's still show up. So that's the other thing too that and here's the Shadow Demons now. So this is where it's going to get really hard, because you get these Shadow Demons that do actually a lot more damage to you than the other ones. And I'm already dead, so. Future Matt here. I wanted to explain something real quick about the blocking system. So when so you can block with if you're using the mouse and keyboard, it's going to be the right mouse click. But if you're using the controller like I am right now, it's just going to be the left trigger. So when you block, you do this. Now basically when you block, it stops attacks from being your effects. Doesn't have attacks, but it stops attacks from affecting your health, at least from the Shadow Dwellers. Still trying to attack you as they are right now. Okay, so the Shadow Beings show up, and then you try to block. They're gonna realize that you're blocking, and then they're gonna wait until you stop blocking. The Shadow Dwellers will still try to attack. They don't do anything. And when you let go, then they realize you stop blocking, and they'll go up and try to attack you. Yeah, I just wanted to show that real quick. Just explain the blocking system. I thought that was pretty important. So let me go over the story mode real quick. So we got some voice acting done for this.
Okay, Katana.
Originally we weren't gonna do.
PVS for short.
Originally we weren't gonna do.
We would rather have someone
voice acting,
trained
but
in combat and using their elemental
we as a team kind of decided to have the voice acting because we did want to have voice acting
Of course,
eventually.
Father.
So,
Besides, who better than the person who took
but we
down
didn't
that
have the money to
vanquisher?
hire personal
This is
voice
a good way to
actors,
keep on my
obviously.
training for me in
So,
case the shadow dwellers come back and even fight a
we did the
shadow
voice
human.
acting ourselves,
That is a good way of
at
looking
least
at
for
it.
Saber,
Won't be any
Vlaker, and
other shadow
Regan.
humans during this testing. We will be
Saber,
running shadow beings
Regan, and
a little
Vlaker.
later.
You know, Vlaker has a little bit
Regan just
to do with
arrived.
the gameplay,
Hey, Tana.
but Saber and
What are you
Regan are
doing
just gonna be
here?
story characters.
Well, since
They
I'm the
don't.
tech guy, I was asked to help with
As of
the
right now,
system
they
in
don't
case something
appear in game.
I just arrived as well.
But
Hey, Flaker.
It's great to see you here.
they may
Vlaker.
be later.
Wanted to
We
see
don't.
this
We
new
haven't making plans yet. But
technology in action.
um,
All right, let's get this started. Let's
so
start with
Saber
warm-up.
obviously is the
How
one
about
that
for Shadow
is
Dweller?
trying to get all this going. Regan is there to help with the technical part of everything. And then so I did the voice of Saber. My co-creator Chris did the voice of Laker, and my co-creator Cody did the voice of Regan. And then we had my cousin Jude had done the voice of Tana. She was more than happy to do that. We also, and then we had there's a character that's going to show up a little later. Well, there's two characters going to show up later. One is the antagonist of the story, and that was played by my friend, or our friend Mike, and then we had my cousin's boyfriend do a character as well. Another character is going to show up later. And we'll discuss that in length at this time, but maybe in the future. So they did an awesome job. I was really happy that they were really excited to do the voice acting. They really wanted to do it. I actually had other family members and close friends wanting to do the voice acting as well, but I can only have, it's only one character, so I chose my cousin. I think I felt she fit it the best. And so yeah, and then I guess the rest of the story is basically, it's just like the survival mode, but more of like a story version. So it's like you're going through, you're fighting a specific amount of enemies, or you're surviving for a certain amount of time before the portal, the next level, opens up. So that is essentially the game. To show off for now. I just saw there's some things to fix still. Things that will be fixed by the time the game is completely done. And that's why it's kind of hard to say. Especially since this is my first game, it's hard to say when this is all going to get done. But we will be trying to get it done as soon as we can. Some things that we would like to do, because we have a Kickstarter open to try and support this. So the goal of the Kickstarter is to make it more fully realized. Even if we don't get money at all, or we don't make our goal, we will still get this done. It just won't be as good as it could be if we got the funding. Because unfortunately, we live in a world where I can't just ask somebody to do something and then they go do it. Unfortunately, it's a little harder to do that, and that's going to require money. So, because what I like to do is hire professional voice actors to be the default voice acting. I would also like to reach out to some freelance artists and freelance programmers to help with making sure the art is as good as it can be, making sure that there's no issues with the programming, get it as good as it can be. And unfortunately, that's can't be done unless we get the funding. So that's where the Kickstarter comes in. That's where you guys come in. So with the Kickstarter, we have less than 30 days to make the money that we need. So if you pledge $5 or more, you get your name in the credits. There's other rewards, and if you pledge more than this, you'll still get your name in the credits, and then you'll have any tier below that, you'll get that as well. So for instance, if you pledge $15, you'll get a copy of the completed game. Rather, that's a Steam key, so you'll get like a Steam key sent to you, because this is going to go up in Steam. If you pledge $15 or more, you'll get this, but you also get this. So the next one up is, if you pledge $30, you get you'll get access to an early beta, which is going to have the future Tana skin. So I'll go ahead and post up the concept here for this, but and the next year following, Tana does get an updated look, and this is during the origin of Specs story, not the original version, because you can read that story for free as well. That's available for free. But that story that I wrote takes place in the old timeline. This version is the current timeline version of that story, and then what she was wearing during that time. So, and so that's one of the first things I'm gonna be doing here. When I start working on the final release of the game, the plan is to not make it available for anyone to download, but make it to where I basically send it to you, and this is when it gets to beta. So it's not going to be right away or anything, but when we get into our beta version, which will still have some issues here and there, but we're hoping to kind of iron a lot of those out by the time we get to the beta. So and then so at that point is when we'll send out we'll send that out to we'll send a link to download for those people who pledge this much. So you'll get like, it's basically like an early version of the game, not a complete version, but it's an early version, and you'll get to see kind of where the progress has been since the alpha, and you also get access to the future Tana skin, which is going to be in the complete version as well. So essentially you get to try out something that other people won't. So so yeah, definitely get on that. The next one is to pledge if you pledge $50 or more. I will send out thank you videos to everyone who does this. Basically, thank you so much. Your contribution helps a lot. And again, you'll get that. You get the beta access, name and credits, Steam copy, as well as the thank you video. So, next one, you should pledge $100 or more. As long as I get enough people here, I will go ahead and do a private QA. Because I figured, at this point, you're really interested in the project, you really want to see this come to fruition, so I figured you have asked some questions go along with that, and I will go ahead and do that. This will be a private QA, though. Not everyone will be involved. It won't be like a thing where everyone gets to join in. If not, then I may just do like a public one, maybe. I don't know for sure yet. I don't know what the backup plan for this is, or I might just not do one at all. One of the two. And then the last one is if you pledge $300 or more. At that point, I figured you're really wanting to have this come to fruition, and so I figured the best way would be to have you be a financial advisor. So the main goal of this game is to get it on Steam, and have it be fully realized. That's the goal of the Kickstarter. Now, if we go past that goal, we will then start looking to things like get it on the consoles, and getting physical copies made as well. And if we can actually basically do all that at once. If we get enough money past our goal, we can go ahead and we will be able to afford to get it sent to Xbox and PlayStation, Switch and whatnot. And if we can get one of those done, then we can then reach out to Limited Games, which we already have. Wherever reach out to them, talk to them, and they said that as long as there is a port of the game, the digital port of the game, then they can make physical copies off that digital port. So that's our ultimate goal. Me as a personally, I am a video game collector, and I like physical copies. So if I could get like a physical copy of this game on my shelf, that would be amazing. So, yeah, that's our ultimate goal. Though it's not the main goal. It's just something that we would shoot for if we met the normal goal of getting it just on available PC. As for mobile, that's something that we will also try to do. That's an iffy though, because I don't know how the controls will work. I like keyboard, mouse, and controller works just fine the way it is, but I don't know how that would work on mobile. I figured like it would work just fine if you had a controller, I don't know if you had just touchscreen controls. That's kind of where I'm iffy about. So I don't know about a mobile version. We will look into it, and if it's possible, we will definitely do it. I was trying to look into it while we're working on the beta, or rather working on the alpha here, but the alpha, I just didn't have the time, unfortunately, to get that all working at once. So I just kind of pushed off to the side and said, okay, I'll just focus on just doing keyboard and controller, and all worked out just fine. So I do want to thank you for watching this in-depth video, me going over everything. If you can share this game around, tell your friends about it, about the game, about the Kickstarter, also about the merch that's available. I'm wearing this shirt right now, the Master Survival shirt. We will have other merch available as well later on. I did hear some interest in that, so but there is other things available that are Masters related. So there's not just Master Survival. You can also go there and check out stuff for the books, just for the series itself. We also have like Chibi Tana available as a sticker, so go check that out. Also available on Etsy, so we do have like signed copies of the books, as well as a sticker that you can get as a Chibi Tana. So you can go to royalflushstudios.com, and they'll have a link for everything. So again, thank you so much for watching this, guys, and I will see you in the next video.